this is Liz from People I Think Are Cool, a bi-weekly podcast where I interview my favorite creatives from across the globe. If you're looking for a dose of creative inspiration, then go to peopleithinkarecool.com or subscribe to People I Think Are Cool on iTunes and Stitcher.
You like film, from cult to classic, from blockbuster to B-movies. And there just isn't that one place with all the fan fervor and passion that's covering the kind of mad, diverse brilliance that you love.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
AfterMovieDiner.com is that fan-built movie nirvana just for you, featuring the sweet, sweet writings of the wife dork herself. AfterMovieDiner.com. Go there. Be the best you can be.
Listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast, the official podcast of the Alamo Drafthouse, Winchester.
Welcome to another edition of the It Modcast podcast. Joining us is Brian Young, the Turtle Dork.
Happy Friday, folks.
And also joining us is Brad Gullickson, Mouth Dork.
What's the point of even going on? Avengers is out. Who cares about any other film that comes out this summer? I'm done.
I'll tell you who cares. Darren Smith, the Disco Dork, because Godzilla still hasn't been released yet. And welcome to another edition of the It Modcast podcast, Fistful Friday. We don't get air horns? Oh, it's because Lisa's not here.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, we're sad. Yeah. We will do her proud, though, in honor of the summer blockbuster season, which I guess it started by now at the time of the release of this episode.
I mean, I still say summer movie season begins May 1st. I don't care what Disney thinks.
What does Disney think?
Disney thinks it starts with Avengers Endgame coming out in April. Summer is summer.
Yeah. You know what? Right. It really wouldn't be fair to any other movie coming out this summer if we had to include Avengers Endgame, because that movie is friggin' amazing. That is a blockbuster in every sense of the word. But because we're not going by Disney rules, we're going by ItMod rules. We're starting, as Mouth Dork said, with the 1st of May. So this is going to be our top 5 for the summer of 2019, our most anticipated. All right, we're going to go with Brian, the Turtle Dork, number 1.
Did you forget how to do this?
I did forget. It's been so long. You give us your number 5 for your most anticipated of the summer, and it may not be Shaft.
No, that Shaft is nowhere on my list, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is a movie that is an indie film that I've been looking forward to, and I think the trailer came out a few weeks ago. And Brad, I know this is a movie that you saw at what's
Sundance?
the festival? Sundance. Yeah. I was trying to think, what's that winter festival that you went to? This is a movie, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, coming out June 14th, released by A24. Don't know much about the movie, but I saw the trailer, and the trailer alone moved me. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see something different. And I always enjoy the indie films that come out during the summertime. Of course, my favorite film from last year, Blindspotting, was a summer release, also a movie that premiered at Sundance. And so I'm always now kind of have some of these indie darling movies on my radar, or some of these movies that may be off the beaten path a little bit, But yeah, I mean, this movie stars Danny Glover, and I believe this is a first-time director.
Yes.
If I could pull up his name, Joe Talbot, and I believe does he star in it as well?
No,
he doesn't star in it.
But the guy who wrote it with him, that conceived the story, is the co-star of the story.
Got you. Okay, so it definitely looks like it's a love letter to the city of San Francisco.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut up.
Maybe not really.
But I'm interested to see this nonetheless. So, of course, Brad has all the goods on it because he's seen it. But it looks like a phenomenal film, and the trailer has sold me on this movie, and I'm really looking forward to it.
If we were doing our dorkies today, it would be in my top 10 and probably be in my top 5.
Nice.
And I think you're going to really like it.
And that's why, like, when you saw it at Sundance, and I heard you talking about it, and after seeing the trailer, I was like, yeah, this feels like it might be my kind of something I can respond to.
I'm really curious, and I don't want to overhype it, but it's a beautiful looking movie. It's an extremely well performed film.
Okay.
The first 5 minutes of the film, I turned to Lisa and I was like, okay, well, this is my favorite film of Sundance, and I doubt anybody's going to top it.
It's crazy because there was, you know how sometimes they'll put quotes in the trailers, and that was a quote in the trailer.
Brad was quote.
No, not Brad, but what he just said. Like, there was a quote in the trailer that says, like, the first 5 minutes of this movie, like, is phenomenal, or something is said. In
I'm going to tell you, it
that.
doesn't like maintain that.
No.
Yeah.
But like you'll be coming out going like, oh my god, and then I'm just gonna shut up. You should just watch it. You should watch it. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
Our listeners should seek it out when it comes out. It's from A24. They're usually right, or not right's not the right word, but they curate a lot of really fascinating films and are usually worth your time.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about Slice and The Hole in the Ground and things like that.
No.
So that's my number 5.
All right, B, your number 5.
My number 5 comes out on June 21st. It's a remake. Frankly, I can't believe I'm going to put this in my top 5 films that I'm anticipating. No, not Shaft.
Okay.
Shaft was on my most anticipated films of the year list until I saw the trailer. And I don't know if I hate that trailer, but I certainly am not like, woohoo, can't wait. No, I'm talking about Child's Play.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Aubrey Plaza, Brian Tyree Henry in it. They're retelling the original film's story, although I guess it's technically a sequel, they're saying, because it's updating the technology, Buddy 2.0. They're bringing 2019 technology to the Cabbage Patch Doll plotline of the original film. Mark Hamill taking over for Brad Dourif as the voice of Chucky. We've heard one line of dialogue from him. I enjoyed it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the visuals that we saw in the trailer are really engaging. I love that extreme close-up of Aubrey Plaza's terrified eye in the trailer. And that one shot probably sold me on the remake concept. There's honestly, you can't mess up this story. You come up with some really good kills, some great sound design, and
don't
you can
dare
have a lot
Hollywood,
of fun.
Brad. Please don't dare Hollywood.
I mean, no, they have messed up things in the past, but this is really basic, and with some really great actors in these basic roles, I think it could be a lot of fun.
And it seems like they're sticking, well, from what I've seen in the trailer, with going the practical route as far as
it appears that way, and I mean they're going for straight little doll scares rather than the comedic bizarro-ness of the Seed of Chucky and Bride of Chucky. Although I really like those films too. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right, my number 5. So full disclosure, my list was. I just double checked to see what my list of in 2019 anticipation for the entire year, and it turns out all of those picks from that particular Fistful would be applicable in my Fistful of summer anticipation. So as not to repeat myself and give the listeners a rehash of that Fistful, I'm going to go a different route. So there are surprisingly a bunch of comedies coming out this summer that I want to see. So while these movies might not be the movies that I want to see more than Godzilla, Hobbs and Shaw, Men in Black, or John Wick 3, because all of those were on my Fistful of most anticipated of 2019, which, honestly, if I'm going to be honest, we're talking about summer blockbuster movie season. These are the movies I'm still most looking forward to. But again, so as not to repeat myself, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to list these other movies that I am interested in. So my number 5 comes out August 16th, and it is The Good Boys. It is the 2019 Superbad with 3 sixth grade boys, and this is per IMDb. They ditch school and embark on an epic journey while carrying accidentally stolen drugs, being hunted by teenage girls, and blah, 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 and hilarity ensues. The trailer I found, the Red Band trailer is the one that I've seen, and I found that highly effective, in line with my poor taste and sense of humor. And it's been a while since I've seen a good comedy in the theater. And like I said, I have at least 3 or 4 more for my Fistful. And I found that surprising in that typically there's only like maybe 1 or 2 comedies a year that I may seek out or even stumble upon and enjoy. So this year seems to be ripe with a humorous selection of films.
It's got to be better than Dirty Grandpa, Darren.
That's a high bar, man. That's a high bar. Don't do that to Good Boys, because that movie, the unrated one, is friggin' hilarious. And I still stand by my poor taste in that movie, but I love it. And Aubrey Plaza, again, in a very scene-stealing role. So, yeah, my number 5 is Good Boys, because I like raunchy humor. All right, Brian, your number 4.
So my number 4 is going to be, of course, a movie of a franchise that I used to be a fan of, and maybe they could swing me back in that direction, Fast and Furious. But Hobbs and Shaw is my number 4. Definitely looking forward to this movie, and just getting out of a second screening for Endgame, got to see the trailer in glorious IMAX and the clarity of that, and it just looks like a lot of fun. That movie just looks like pure enjoyment, pure fun, and I love Statham and The Rock together.
Is that rated R?
No.
Really?
No. Why would it be rated R?
I don't know, because in the one trailer when he was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, you get one.
No,
you get one.
But he mouths it, and you don't even hear him say it.
Oh,
yeah, they don't even show that in the theatrical trailer. That's only online. You see that?
God damn it!
But I don't care about that. But yeah, this movie just looks like pure fun. I mean, it's definitely harkening back to the chemistry of the buddy cops from the 80s and the 90s, and yeah, man, it's weird. Like that character of Hobbs has completely felt like it's a different character from the first time that we saw him in Fast 5.
And Declan Shaw. Neither of them are anything like their original incarnation.
But you know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. And
I know you are.
Yeah, and it just looks like so much fun. I mean, the action looks just so absurd, so huge, so ridiculous. Idris Elba looks like he's having fun playing Black Superman.
Yeah.
I'm here for all of it, man. It just looks like it looks like out of every movie coming out this summer, that's the one movie that looks like it's just going to be pure fun from start to finish. And it's hard for me to say that if you go into that movie with the right mentality that you'll come out dissatisfied. Like it just looks like
I would have said the same thing about the Fate and the Furious, Brian, but you came out pretty dissatisfied.
Yeah, but that's different though.
It is different, and I was thinking about this when during my 4th screening of Endgame when they showed that trailer. I was like, why am I so on board with this, but so against? Yeah. Why have I turned on the Fast and the Furious franchise? And I figured out what it was. It's because out the gate, Hobbs and Shaw establishes its sense of lunacy. Like it doesn't. It's not going to start out.
It establishes it in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Well, yeah, but the Fast and the Furious franchise, and you're right, but the Fast and the Furious franchise, I can't speak for Brian, but I can speak for myself, how it turned on me or why I started to lose my interest in it is because it started out one way and then it became Hobbs and Shaw. Whereas initially it was like, all right, we're going to have this investment in fantasy, not fantasy, in family.
You felt betrayed tonally by the Fast and the Furious.
It just got more ludicrous. Like if it had started out,
that's because it had Luda.
Yeah,
and that's a strike against it. That is right there, striking first strike. So if it had started out Fast 5, 6, 7 tone-ish, if Fast and the Furious 1 was that, and then we just maintained that and got crazier from there, I'd still probably be on board most likely.
Yeah,
but because it was not that initially, and now we're in, the MCU territory, so to speak.
Literally, they're making superheroes.
Yeah, they really are. And that's the thing. Like, it bothered me about the Fast and the Furious franchise, but when I saw that first trailer for Hobbs and Shaw, I was like, why am I on board with this super soldier? It's ridiculous, but I'm here for it.
I mean, I think tonally, because they're leaning all the way into it, where as far as like with the Fast and Furious movies, when you start with one movie and by the time you get to the 8th film, the franchise has changed and has gotten more the lunacy or
and
has
better.
got yeah. But it's
I'm just messing with you guys. I understand your points of view, and as somebody who didn't get excited about the series until Tokyo Drift, when the lunacy really started to come in, and they started to have a lot of fun with a very diverse cast of bizarre characters. Yeah. That's when I was like all in, and so when Fast and Furious 6, they're, doing Superman leaps across bridges. I'm, praising that. I could care less about the wannabe Point Break that the first film was. But I understand. I understand what you guys are saying. But also, I'm happy that Brian is finding some enthusiasm for this re-Chris.
And I hope that with the 9th movie with Justin Lin coming back, I mean, he can kind of keep that absurdity of the action, but still be able to ground it in the characters that we love. Because it seemed like he really had a great balance of the tone, unlike the directors that they brought in after him. But.
Yeah, if you're going to go Black Superman, Super Lunacy with Hobbs and Shaw, you all might as well reanimate Han. If we're going that route, then bring back Han, reanimate
Cyber
Han. I'll buy it. Robo Han. I'm with it. So yeah, all right, great pick. Brad, your number 4.
My number 4 is another horror film. Comes out on May 24th. It's written by 2 of James Gunn's brothers, Brian Gunn and Mark Gunn, and directed by David Yarovesky. Brightburn.
Yes.
The evil Superman.
Super
film. Excited about this one.
The first trailer, talk about leaning into a concept. This idea of Kal-El landing on Earth from his homeworld, and he appreciates Ma and Pa Kent, but he's got a darkness inside him that Kal-El never had. Yeah. And this little baby Kryptonian, or wherever the hell he's from, is going full Michael Myers, or maybe full Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah. And it's truly disturbing. Yeah. The visuals of the trailer are upsetting. I both hate and love how it perverts the Superman mythology. And I am really curious to see the final product, if it's more than just a great trailer.
Yeah. I'm excited too. I think
it could pull it off. I mean, with James Gunn and his brothers, and I don't know. I think hopefully they could pull something off.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Me too. All right. My number 4 comes out May 24th. And it is another comedy centered around adolescence. But this one is
Aladdin.
Yeah, it's Aladdin. He's picking Aladdin.
No, man. It is Olivia Wilde's film Booksmart.
Yeah. Great trailer.
Yes, a very funny trailer. These kids centered in this film are a little bit older than the kids from The Good Boys. And also, they are not boys. It's 2 girls. So it's like super bad, but you swap out Jonah Hill and Michael Cera, and you replace them with Caitlin Dever and Billy Lord. And so I saw this trailer. I had been hearing a buzz around it, but I had not looked into it at the time of viewing the trailer. So when I did see it, I was pleasantly surprised. I found that, and at the time of seeing the trailer, I wasn't aware that Olivia Wilde had directed this film. But to see her step behind the camera and produce something of this caliber and this entertaining looking, after recently coming off of the Vigilante film, which she did not direct, but she starred in, which to me and for me was a role that I wasn't used to seeing Olivia Wilde in. And I found that she made some, I don't want to sound cliche and say daring choices, but it's a really strong performance with a really scarred and potentially controversial character in that film. And
I want to see that. I haven't seen it yet. I know it's on demand now.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. So to see her leap from that to something on the opposite end of the spectrum tonally, I found really refreshing. And like I said, it just looks really entertaining. And again, in the summer, I do like my action films. I'm excited to see films like Brightburn, but I also need my sprinkling of humor here and there. And the fact that I have more than one film to look forward to in the comedy genre excites me. So this is my number 4, Booksmart.
Are all your picks going to be comedies? Is that what this Fistful is?
I tried, but there's only 4, so I got to sprinkle a non-comedy in there. So, yeah. Brian, you're number 3.
So my number 3 is going to a movie that's going to complete a trilogy that I love, John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. Looking forward to this one. I mean, I think all the trailers have been magnificent. I think Chad Stahelski coming back to direct this movie, who's been a part of all 3 of them, so he's been able to kind of see this character and this story through from the beginning to the end. It feels like it's telling a complete story of John Wick, from a simple story about a man getting revenge for them killing the one memento that his wife left him, which was his dog, something that to remind him of his wife who passed away, and knowing that he is the Baba Yaga and what he's capable of doing. And then in the second film, seeing how they've expanded that world and that universe, and to see where that goes in this third film to kind of wrap up his story. And the action, I think, is just phenomenal. I love what David Leitch, who directed the previous film I talked about with Hobbs and Shaw, and Chad Stahelski has done with their action studio, 8711, with the action choreography and the stunt work that they do. And these movies have kind of been a showcase of what they could do within the stunt world and within the action genre. And I mean, I love it. I mean, Keanu Reeves, 50 plus years old and still doing these moves like this. And it just looks so lush and lavish with the colors and how everything is filmed. I mean, these movies just seem to just get, the production of it just seems to get grander and grander, but yet telling kind of this simple story about this man just on this quest and just trying to survive. And I don't know, it's just all the characters that they introduced in these movies, from Common in the second movie to we got Bronn from Game of Thrones in there, and of course we have Ian McShane is in there. We got
Mark Dacascos is joining this time.
That's right, yeah. And then Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, we get freaking John Wick on motorcycles with samurai swords. Mm-hmm. And, it's just. I can't wait. This looks awesome. I can't wait for this one.
I have my tickets.
That's right. They're on sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get mine.
Well, Brian, May 17th, I think I'm going to be joining you at the theater for John Wick Chapter 3, which is my number 3 pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah. I mean, just from a pure action point of view, these are some of the most entertaining films being made in the United States right now.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is a beast. But the world is a different kind of absurdity from the Fast and the Furious Presents, but it is very much like this fantastical, just slightly left of center universe that I really respond to. And you know, John Wick Chapter 2 really upped the mythology of the Continental, and I am excited to see what else we will find in Parabellum. I also got to say, you know, you made reference to the Baba Yaga. Gosh, that Russian folklore has been getting a lot of love lately with Hellboy and Ant-Man.
Yeah.
The Baba Yaga. So, you know, props to the Baba Yaga for making a cultural comeback.
2019 is the Baba Yaga's year. The year of the Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
You know Baba Yaga?
So I'm super excited. You know, Halle Berry, her 2 dogs.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that, you know, they're bringing 2 nasty German shepherds into the fray from a film that had its origins in the death of a little puppy. I'm excited.
Same. All right. I'm calling an audible on my entire Fistful. I wish I'd have done it earlier. So my number 3 comes out July 3rd, actually. And it is Ari Aster's follow-up sophomore effort to Hereditary, and that is Midsommar. I don't know much about it. I'm looking at IMDb now, and it says a young woman reluctantly joins her boyfriend on a summer trip where things quickly go awry.
Have you watched that trailer?
I have seen it, and I still don't know what to make of it.
Scary.
And I love the imagery, the disturbing imagery on display there. And, you know, with Hereditary that we've spoken so highly about on this podcast many times before, what Ari Aster has done, for me at the very least, has guaranteed an interest and a ticket sold to whatever comes next.
Yeah.
Because I could have never anticipated or expected what Hereditary would be or what it would provoke in me during the watch, and even now so far after the fact. So I can only imagine, like, my mind reels at the thought of the possibilities of what Midsommar would be as a film and experience. So
I'm going to do a retroactive audible and kick Child's Play off of my list. Because I forgot that Midsommar was coming out. I did not do any preparation for this episode, Brian.
Oh, man.
You know, I was not expecting to do it until yesterday. You were like, we got to do the Fistful of Anticipation. I was like, oh, yeah, I should probably look at my Fandango app. And I missed Midsommar when I was scrolling through my app. So let's put Midsommar as my number 5.
All right.
That's not true. Let's put Midsommar as my number 4. Push Brightburn to 5. And sorry, Child's Play, you're out of the Fistful.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, you're starting shit now. I want to kick Good Boys out. Anyway, I'm going to leave it. Brian, your number 3? 2?
2. So, number 2. So, had to do a little bit of rearranging. And I said it before, usually like when I do my most anticipated of the year, I do that at the end of 2018. That list kind of changes as we move further into the year and we start to see trailers, and then other stuff kind of, takes precedent, and then we see certain movies. So Quentin Tarantino has a movie coming out.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. It was my 3rd most anticipated movie of the year, but it's my 2nd most anticipated movie of the summer, where my first most anticipated movie was my 5th most anticipated movie.
You're getting fucking weird now. What?
I got to break out the math.
Right?
I'm sorry.
What the hell?
Anyway.
I hear what you're saying. You start to see trailers and opinions and anticipation changes.
They change, So basically, I'm saying Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is my number 2 most anticipated movie of the summer.
Okay.
So all that roundabout just to let you know.
Had that new trailer, the most recent trailer, had that come out when we did our most anticipated of the year, when you put this pick on there?
No.
Did that affect its placement or whatever?
No, it's just that my number 1 shot up because of everything that I've seen from that. So, and that just kind of superseded it. Okay. But going to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I'm guessing this will come up again. I'm excited. I mean, Tarantino, his movies have become events, and for him to kind of go back to doing something that he says is similar to Pulp Fiction, where he's trying to go back to do like some of the vignette storytelling that he did in Pulp Fiction, and to set this movie in 1969 with Sharon Tate and just that whole era of Leonardo DiCaprio and his TV star trying to transition into the Hollywood scene with making movies, and his stuntman played by Brad Pitt, and then having all these other like real life actors in the movie, like Steve McQueen, like Bruce Lee, and all these other people, and how he's going to kind of navigate this story. And of course, Charles Manson plays a part in this as well. And is he going to do revisionist history with the whole thing with Sharon Tate? Is he going to actually acknowledge that stuff? Because when this was announced, there were a lot of people that had some skepticisms about Tarantino tackling this issue, because at first they thought it was a movie about Charles Manson. But it seems that that's going to be more in the background, but still, originally this movie was going to come out, which would have been the 50th anniversary of the death of Sharon Tate, but they pushed the movie, I think, up a week so it doesn't fall on the actual anniversary. But there were a lot of criticisms about that. And so I want to see how he's going to handle this material, because I think even when you talked about Tarantino dealing with something like slavery with Django, I don't think it got this much kind of
attention.
Well, because it was dealing with slavery, but it was all dealing with fictional characters.
Fictional characters, yeah.
These are real people.
And these are real people that real people actually died. And not like Inglourious Bastards when you talk about Hitler. That's, something kind of completely different from this.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I'm intrigued to see how he's going to handle this material. I'm really, really intrigued by that. So, yeah, that's my number 2. But I trust Tarantino, and I trust that he's going to do something really cool and hopefully really respectful to Sharon Tate and her family with this, if they focus on that. So, I mean, but we don't know.
All right.
So.
Tarantino sidebar, real quick. The extended Hateful Eight on Netflix that's broken up into 4 pieces.
It's the worst.
It's not.
I
hate it. Why?
I hate that idea. Why would you do that?
It's nothing wrong. Did you watch it?
No, of course not.
Check it out.
No,
and then
I will not.
I
straight up refuse.
What? It's not bad.
I don't care if it's not bad. That's not the film.
It's weird because I was telling Brian about this last night. It feels like that's how if you had never seen it or known anything else about it.
I'm sure it works.
Feel like
I'm sure it works perfectly.
It does actually.
Yeah, I find it blasphemous.
What?
Yeah, and I find it really gross. And I find Netflix perverting visions of filmmakers to be offensive.
So this wasn't approved.
I have no idea, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like colorizing a film. It's like adding commercial breaks into a movie. No thanks. That's not the experience. That's not the film. Just because the American people now have to have everything spoon-fed to them episodically doesn't mean we go back and butcher all of our favorite movies to make it more palatable for an audience.
Yeah, but the actual film is still selectable on Netflix too, and you can watch it in that way.
And that's the one I'll watch.
I'm just saying, like,
and actually, I have the Blu-ray, so I just watched that.
Yeah.
And I was telling Brian, like, I couldn't bring myself to watch the Blu-ray, so I haven't seen it in its entirety since my theatrical screenings because the compression with the aspect ratio on the Blu-ray just threw me. Like I couldn't get used to that. So I probably watched about 20 or 30 minutes of it and I was like, I can't get used to this shit because how many times did we see it? Like in 70 millimeter?
I saw it 5 times in the theater.
Yeah, so that's what I have ingrained into my psyche. Like
I just watched it this past winter on our first snow day. I did a double feature of that and then John Carpenter's The Thing, and it looks great on my TV.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to have a big ass TV to enjoy it. Like if we had it on like a cathode ray tube television, it would be pretty torturous, I would think. But at the same time, I'm not one of those people who's like, the theatrical experience is the only way to experience anything. I could probably enjoy Hateful Eight on my iPhone, to be honest.
Don't say that. Anyway, you're number 2.
Hey, you're the one who's like going, let's chop movies up.
I didn't say let's do it.
Sitcoms.
I'm just saying they did it, and I saw it, and I was aware of the backlash before I saw it, and when they announced it, I saw the articles, and I was like, what the fuck? That's so weird. And then I decided to watch it, taking in everyone's criticisms about it, like prepared to raise my pitchforks and hate it, and I was like,
and you enjoyed it.
Like when the first act ends and it says written, directed by Quentin Tarantino, and the next one starts, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, and I just hit play, and it just kept going, and I was like, oh, okay, and the way that they broke it up, the extended sequences, which I had never seen, they say that it's this version screened theatrically with the Roadshow, but I don't remember when we saw it like at the AFI and everywhere else that was showing it in 70 millimeter. I don't remember seeing this version at all. There's some scenes that are extended, like when he's like at the very beginning, you got to put the bodies on the carriage yourself or whatever, or get the horse driver, and Marquise propositioning the horse driver to help him get him on there. He'll give him $150. He'll pay for his liquor, like all that exchange, and them showing the hangman taking a piss by the wagon wheel while this goes down, and him asking Kurt Russell, could you hold the horses while he helps me get the bodies on top? That wasn't in the road. That wasn't in the road show that we saw.
I can't remember.
So there was some stuff in it. Anyway, I felt like it wasn't. I just found myself getting past that because just the acting, fucking Walton Goggins. I
know that's all in the movie, Darren.
So at the end of the day, it's still in that broken up Netflix thing.
But why would I want it broken up? I don't understand.
I don't know why you would want it. I don't want it broken up, but it was there. I consumed it, and it didn't destroy me. Is all I'm saying. For you. So yeah, you're number 2.
My number 2 is I'm going back to the MCU for Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Shit, I keep forgetting that movie's coming out.
Closing out Phase 3. I'm even more excited to watch it post Endgame. I won't spoil it here in this episode, but There's one particular relationship now that I'm extremely excited to see play out in Far From Home.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, Mysterio, Daddy, Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah. I'm really excited about that too.
Yeah.
So, and I like that first trailer. I'm excited to see it as another trailer. I love Tom Holland in the role. Globetrotting. I think the Mysterio plot, as it reveals itself, is going to be a lot of fun as well.
So you don't know why, like what he.
I mean, I can guess.
Oh, but I'm saying they haven't put anything out.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. And when is that? Is that July?
It's July something, right before Comic-Con.
Yeah, okay. July 3rd.
Yeah,
They pushed it up. It was July 5th, but they want that 4th of July money. Yeah, so they pushed it July 3rd.
Okay. Well, you can take my 4th of July money.
Yeah.
All right. My number 2 is a part of my Audible as well. And I just only saw this trailer about 2 weeks ago, maybe. It is Luc Besson's latest film, Anna.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what IMDb says. Beneath Anna Politova's striking beauty lies a secret that will unleash her indelible strength and skill to become one of the world's most feared government assassins. Basically, it's like Atomic Blonde via Luc Besson. That rhymed.
Yeah.
I did that on purpose.
I was going to say it's the Lucy follow-up.
If she's like a supercomputer, super being thing, I'll take that. I had not heard anything of this film until seeing the trailer.
Same.
And I don't know anything of the actress Sasha Luss, who looks very capable in the role. There's I want to say the main centerpiece of this particular trailer is a fight sequence that happens in a restaurant, and she goes ape shit on some patrons in there. I don't want to say patrons, obviously they're bad guys, but she breaks a plate in half, and she has a half of a plate in each hand, and she's using that as her instruments of destruction, and she's slicing people with a broken plate.
Oh, yeah, I saw that trailer.
I found that.
Luc Besson directed this or produced it?
He wrote and directed.
Oh, dang!
It's written and directed by him. So, I'm interested. He is. I will say
he's made a good movie,
like The Fifth Element and The Professional. But Lucy, say what you will about that film, it's not good. It's not good. It's interesting. I can appreciate some of its concepts and things like that, but the execution, I don't think the landing was stuck. But I still am interested to see him return to the action genre with a femme fatale in the lead, and I'm curious to see how this pans out. In a summer season with its fair share of action, obviously Luke, Hobbs and Shaw, friggin' Spider-Man, John Wick. I still will appreciate another offering, and I will take it in the form of Anna. So Brian, your number 1 most anticipated film of the summer of 2019.
This is weird, and it almost feels not even right for this to be my number 1.
Shaft.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm going to unplug your mic, man. No,
because I feel like I'm taking this away from Darren.
You're not. Because I told you, this was already my number 1 on my, so I'm not going to rehash it.
But it's just so weird because, it's Godzilla.
Yes!
King of the Monsters. This movie, with every new image, every bit of footage, everything that I see from it, it's just getting me more and more excited for this movie.
I really like the new trailer.
It is incredible. And the final trailer, the last trailer that you just mentioned, Brad, I think it's so weird because I said it in my trailer reaction that I'm not even the biggest, Godzilla fan. That is reserved for Disco Dork right here. So it's like I don't even feel right even talking about it, but I just cannot help how everything about those trailers, and even when that's right, you weren't in Hall H this past year when we saw the trailer for the first time, but they released it online.
I saw it online,
yeah. But when I saw the very first trailer, I mean, I was just in awe in the way they portrayed those monsters. Just the beauty and the majesty of how they portray those monsters with the music and combining that with the destruction and the visuals. And then with every subsequent trailer after that, leading up to this final trailer, it's just amazing how they are almost just paying respect to these like giant monsters. And Brad Doherty, who directed this, you could tell that he's a fan of this franchise. And it's just amazing how he can just... And I said this in my trailer reaction. I'm like, if I can get excited about this, I can only imagine what someone like Darren or someone even commented in the YouTube that who are like diehard fans, like they got to be just going through the roof for stuff like this. I mean, when you see Ghidorah, when you see Rodan, when you see Mothra, and like those neon lights when she spreads her wings, and then the music, it's just
the shot in the first trailer. I think it's the first trailer where Godzilla and Ghidorah are on opposite sides of a cityscape, and then they clash in the middle.
Yeah. So good. It's so good. And then, of course, like I just saw the exclusive IMAX look, and to see that, and part of me, I was like, oh man, they're showing too much. You know, I'm getting too many character moments with like Kyle Chandler and Vera Farmiga and Tywin Lannister. But man, I mean,
wasn't it amazing, Brian?
It looks incredible. I mean, and just to show you the sheer destruction that just like the one shot from the first trailer that I was in awe was when Rodan flies over the city and it looks like an atomic blast. And that just shows you just the sheer magnitude of what these monsters can do just by flying by.
It's adapting what the original did to a 2019 audience. Like, that's what's really exciting about that is when he flaps his wings, the city's doomed.
Yeah. And then like in these new trailers, you see it from the ground level with like just and like it just looks awe-inspiring. It just looks amazing.
I'm really looking forward to the movie, but for some reason I'm not like crazy anticipating it. Maybe because I don't know. Like I can't believe that they can do a proper follow up to it for some reason. I'm not just I'm
the 2014 movie.
Yeah. I really liked the 2014 version, and I know that had a lot of critics. And in some ways I agree with them, and in other ways I really don't agree with them. And this seems tonally so opposite to that. It seems like this massive Justice League to BVS course correction that it concerns me.
I can see what you're saying about that because it definitely looks like Brad Doherty is trying to answer some of the criticisms. Because my biggest thing, I liked the 2014 movie, but I just thought the movie was it was too dark. I just didn't like the fact
visually?
that like the way it was lit. I just felt like I couldn't see anything. So this one, especially just the way it's lit, I mean, it looks amazing. But I don't think I get like the BVS Justice League course correction thing, and that's an interesting analogy. But I don't know. I don't think this is going to be that type of thing.
I hope you're right.
I hope so
you
too.
Probably are. Like, there's no way it could be Justice League because so few things are. Jesus.
True. But that's my number one, and I'm sure we'll hear about it some more.
All right, Brad, your number one.
My number one is Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in the Hollywood. The trailer's fine. I don't love the trailer. I think Tarantino movies often don't feel properly represented in the marketing, and I think that is very much the case here. I am really curious to see what the film actually ends up being, how they treat the historical events of the narrative, how they treat the actors, the real life people, the stuntmen, the Hollywood people, how they treat them narratively, fictionally. I'm like you though, Brian. I love every Tarantino movie to some degree or another. It's just a matter of ranking my favorites. There's not a one where I go, oh, that was not worth my time. So I imagine I'm going to enjoy this in some fashion. It's just a matter of how much I'm going to enjoy it. But it is concerning to see them tackling the Charles Manson murders. And, Dewey Cox, I can't remember the actor's name. It's driving me crazy.
Oh, who's playing Charles Manson?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dewey Cox from Justified is playing Charles Manson in this. And then he's going to play an older Charles Manson in the Mindhunter Netflix series that David Fincher is producing. So we're going to get 2 Charlie Mansons from the same actor. Yeah. Very
shared universe? That's nuts.
It's really, really crazy.
Fincher Tarantino shared universe?
Yeah. I have a feeling, though, that it is going to go Inglourious Bastards on us and change history quite a bit. Yeah. I know that Tarantino showed it to Sharon Tate's daughter to get her approval, and because she was really against the film. Okay. But then after their meeting and hearing what Tarantino's wanted to convey with this movie, she gave it the thumbs up. So that's interesting to me.
Well, that's good.
I don't know. I know Darren's really curious to see how Bruce Lee's going to be handled in this movie.
I know.
I'm so fucking nervous.
But even that one moment in the trailer, I think, sold a lot of people.
It depends on how that scene goes and what's happening in that scene. I understand people's concerns about that sequence, but I have a feeling I know what's going on in that scene, and it will validate the badass that Bruce Lee is. Anyway, so Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's my most anticipated film of the year, and it's my most anticipated film of the summer. So
all right,
nice.
My number one
is Godzilla, but because we can't. You want to bring new love to new things.
I do. In my effort not to repeat myself, because like I said, it was my number one for my most anticipated
then, Darren,
2019.
can we trust any of your top 5 if you're not honest with your number one?
No, I'm going to be honest with my number one. Like I said, in an effort to not repeat myself, though, I failed because it's going to be fucking Godzilla. There's no other choice for me. There's no other choice. That's my most anticipated of the year. That's most anticipated of the next 2 years, possibly. For everything I said in my previous Fistful as its number one reasoning, and for everything Brian said, it's just I've lived over 40 years with this character, with this franchise. It's everything to me, and to see, and granted, like you, Brett, I was a huge fan of Gareth Edwards, his take, 2014 Godzilla. But unlike you, though, like I don't have the skepticism of surrounding the change in tone so much, only because as a fan of the entire franchise, I'm kind of used to that, because you would get Godzilla, then you would get Godzilla Raids Again, then you would get Godzilla versus Ghidorah, then you would get Godzilla on Monster Island, then you would get Destroy All Monsters, which is nuts. Then you'd go to Godzilla versus Biollante, which is the Dark Knight version of it. You get Grimm. And
that's a good point. I didn't even really think about that, but that's totally true.
So I'm used to the fluctuations in it. And for me, it's so weird. I never really sat back and thought about and looked at it from a distance, looked at the franchise, or looked at that character from a distance, but it is similar to Batman. You got your BVS Batman, you got your Adam West Batman, you got your Michael Keaton Batman. And so, but when the new Batman movie comes out, we're like, yo, I want to see this fucking Batman movie.
All Batman are valid, all Godzilla are valid.
Right. You got your goofy guy, because Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, that movie is freaking nuts. Like, you got this weird, trippy 60s vibe going on, this hippie vibe going on, like, he's flying backwards in that one by shooting his atomic breath, using that as propulsion to fly. Like, even as a kid, like, I found that bizarre. I mean, I love it. I'm seeing Godzilla fly, but it just, even then, like, tonally, it was apparent to me that this isn't normal. And then, a couple years later, I would see something, like I said, Godzilla versus Biollante or Godzilla versus Destroyer, where there's no joking around in that. Like, there are stakes that aren't necessarily apparent, with Godzilla versus Gigan or Megalon or whatever. It's just wildly different tones, and it's very interesting to see Japan and Toho specifically freely play around with that, because then you look at Godzilla Resurgence, Shin Godzilla as it's known there, and how that harkens they go all the way back to the beginning of the timeline, to the original Godzilla, and the seriousness in that one, and how we've gone away from it just being like this time travel farce about bringing some DNA back and recreating a Mecha Ghidorah or whatever. And now Japan is looking at how they can bring to light social issues regarding like the reactor catastrophe disaster that happened in real life, and how they're juxtaposing that with what's going on in the movie. So the same way that they were talking about speaking on those types of things with the original Godzilla, they go back tonally to that in Shin Godzilla. So it's been going back and forth. And then to hear that, they're looking at reestablishing the character again, which will not be tied to Shin Godzilla. It'll be a totally different iteration, starting their own. They're rebooting it, so to speak. So again, it mirrors what we've done here in the States with Batman, and I find that fascinating. And like I said, it's funny because as a fan of the franchise, it's not something that I typically look at and consider. But now that I'm doing it, it just makes him and his history, especially cinematically, that much more interesting to me. But yeah, that's my number one, because oh my god, and seeing it today's presentation, and because shout out to the AMC Tysons, they redone their IMAX auditorium, not only the seats, but in my opinion, the screen and everything, because that image was so incredibly vivid. So there were details in the trailer. It's not even a trailer. It's a sneak peek of the scene where Ghidorah is awakened from the ice, and he first confronts Godzilla, and like the clarity in that. And even though it takes place at night in this Arctic setting, everything was visibly apparent, and you could see clearly how much detail and stuff they put in there. There's a shot in there where, and this is one of the reasons why it's my most anticipated. Like Brian said, it's apparent that Michael Dougherty is a fan of this franchise. So in the original Godzilla films, the old school Toho films productions, Ghidorah, the three-headed dragon, his heads are on strings, and they have this bobble-like quality where you can see like the puppeteer at work, and it almost looks like each head is moving independently of one another, bobbling up and down in their own way. So in this footage that was screened today, or that screened in this this sneak peek, when Ghidorah awakens from the ice, that movement is mimicked, although via CGI, but it's mimicked, because if you notice the left head, which would be on the right of your screen, the left head of Ghidorah kind of like bobbles and sways and turns over to the left, almost behind Ghidorah to the rear, and then the one on the far right kind of swings and sways and looks over towards the right, and then the one in the middle is doing its own thing. So they even mimic that independent bobbling, but it's on a slower scale to give the sense of size and weight to it. But they even mimic that in the trailer, and most people might not catch it, but people, fans and acute fans will probably pick that out. At the very least, I did, and when I saw that for the first time, I just lost my shit. Mm-hmm. So, I'm looking forward to that. I need that movie in my life so bad. When the frick are the tickets going on sale?
Oh, I don't know.
I got my tickets for that Godzilla triple feature that they're doing at the Alamo.
Oh, yeah, they're showing the first one. It's a double feature.
I thought it was a triple feature.
They're showing Godzilla and then GMK.
Oh, okay.
Ghidorah, Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah. Okay. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's a pretty dope one. That's one of the more serious ones. Yeah. So, you know what? Hit us up on social media at ItModcast on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and let us know what your top 5 films of the summer are that you're most looking forward to. You can hit up the lovely wife dork at Sidewalk Siren and at Bake Dork on Twitter and Instagram, and let her know that she was missed on this episode. You can follow that guy at the Turtle Dork on Twitter, at the Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram, and at Brian William Young on Facebook. Mouth Dork is at Mouth Dork on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Letterboxd, and Untapped. And I'm Darren Smith, the Disco Dork, on all social medias. That is going to do it for us. If you have not already checked out our epic review cast for Avengers Endgame, please do so. Warning, it is going to be spoiler-filled if you have not already seen it. I would not blame you if you haven't already seen it, as tickets are at the very least for the first weekend and first week, hard to come by because that movie is killing at the box office.
$1.2 billion
already.
Its first weekend.
Yeah.
The first weekend. That is nuts.
Yeah.
That is nuts. So, make sure you check that movie out multiple times if you can. It is definitely worth seeing. Then
the actor who played Dewey Cox in Justified and is playing Manson in the Mindhunter and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is Damon Harriman. Driving me crazy. So I don't like
shout out to that guy. Love Justified. It's going to do it for us. Thank you.
Dewey Cox. Dewey Cox is Walk Hard.
No.
Yeah.
Dewey Crowder.
Dewey Crowder. No.
He was a Crowder.
Was he
Boy
a Crowder?
Yeah, he was
Dewey
Boy Crowder's cousin.
Okay. Man, I'm losing it. Dewey Cox.
Walk hard. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Go see Endgame again and add to that 1.2 billion. And until next time.